If the purchase approvals takes forever in your organization, chances are you have a broken procurement process. In this video, I'm going to talk about 3 signs that your procurement process is broken so that you know exactly what to look for and how to fix it. And stick till the end where I'll share one simple tip that you can implement today to cut your approval cycle time by more than 50%. If you're joining me for the first time, welcome. My name is Sachin Sharma. I am the founder of Procure Desk, where we help growing companies automate their controls around spending through purchasing and AP automation. Now let's jump right in. So sign number 1 is what we call approval black holes, right? So you create a requisition, send it for approval, and you hear nothing. You keep on chasing people for approval, and weeks pass by, right? So that's what I mean by an approval black hole, that they just vanish. So here's probably what is happening, right? So you're sending a request to your manager. The manager has so many other priorities. They have crowded inbox, so they don't know what to look for. They might be out of office. There's probably a clear lack of escalation, right? If somebody's out of office, what to do and so on. So things like that slows down the approval process. And it's not just slowdown of the approval process, right? It has business impact. So let's say you're looking to hire a new person and you need a laptop to, get them going, and your manager hasn't approved that. So what that means, the person is going to join and they can't be productive, right? So those are the real business impact of slow approval process. Number 2 sign is you have budget surprises. So you have people always going over budget. You're discovering it in your quarterly review meetings that so-and-so went over budget in terms of what they had in the budget versus the actual spend. Based on my experience working with hundreds of companies, what we typically see is they don't have a proactive budget control. So either people don't know what their budget is, or they are not checking at the time of the purchase, right? Or they have to call somebody like finance team and say, hey, show what's my budget and so on. And by the time you get all that, it's probably too late, right? So then you need to have awkward conversation with people and say, all right, why did you went over budget? What we can do to adjust it and so on, right? Number 3 sign is you're living in a spreadsheet maze. We all have spend data siloed in different systems. You probably have invoices, you have credit card spending, you have your purchase order data. If you are using a purchase order system, that might be living in a spreadsheet. And when you have siloed data, it just becomes very difficult to get basic information. Let's say your CFO comes and asks and say, hey, I'm getting ready to meet this vendor. What did we spend? And that becomes a research project at that time, right? You're looking at spreadsheets, and hours after you deliver something and you're not even sure whether that's a correct answer or not. And that is not just embarrassing, right? But that could be career limiting move for you too. When you have siloed processes, right, the impact of that is you're not able to control spending. You're not able to negotiate better vendor payment terms, or for that matter, you're not able to reduce your overall cost, right? Because you're not spending time on that. You're just chasing spreadsheets to get the basic information going. So those are the 3 clear signs that your procurement process is broken, and you should look at fixing them one by one. Now, about the bonus tip I talked about, here's a simple way to speed up your approval process. One of the common problem we see with most growing companies is they have a one-size-fit-all approval process. Everything needs to go to a manager for approval, or everything needs to go to a CFO for approval, and so on. And guess what? Managers and CFOs are not sitting there just to approve requisitions. That's not their full-time job. They have other business priorities they need to focus on. So the way to look for is, okay, what is the objective of approvals? Approvals is mainly for cost control. And if you do your what's called a Pareto, or simply called 80-20 analysis on your spending, you would realize that 20% of your transactions contribute to 80% of your spend. So if you focus on only those 20%, you will control 80% of your spend rather than focusing on all 100%. So what does it mean? Should you not approve the remaining 80%? No. What I mean to say here is you should focus on having the 20% approved by senior management, and 80% can be done at the department level. It could be a manager. It could be a director that is doing the approvals and so on. One of our clients recently implemented this strategy, and they saw approximately 66% reduction in their approval cycle within 2 weeks of implementing that. That's how powerful this strategy is. So just to summarize, if you're seeing these signs, your procurement process is broken, right? Number 1, approval black hole. Number 2, budget surprises. Number three, you're living in a spreadsheet maze. And the bonus tip is, go figure out 80/20 on your spend and configure your workflow processes accordingly. Now, if you like this video, feel free to hit the subscribe button so you get notified next time when we release videos like this. Thank you for joining me today, and see you in the next video.